Welcome to Yeshiva Daf, your sponsor, Louis Nishmas. I'm back with Shalom Labas Yitzchok. We're holding Basra Daf Pialef. This will be a repeat of the shir that was given on Shabbos. Says the Mishnah, someone buys 2 trees in the field of his friend. He's not koyin the karka. 2 trees does not include the land. He is koyin the karka with 2 trees. Higdilu, according to Tanakama, lo yishve. Now, if the trees start growing branches, don't cut down the branches. Why not? Because I don't have land. So what am I doing? I'm using the seller's land to have a tree. So the seller's land, lend me the land as much as they want. Whatever grows from the trunk belongs to the owner of the tree. And what grows from the roots belongs to Balakaka. If the trees die, Ein lo karka, doesn't have land anymore because there's no land. Now, what grows from the roots belongs to Balakarka because it's growing from the land of Balakarka. But if you bought 3 trees, you do get the land. Higdilu yishve, if the branch is going too big, says the owner of the land, you have your own land. Keep your branches in your land. Don't bring it into my land. Whatever grows from the trunk or from the roots, shaloi. If he dies, he still has a karka, he bought the karka as well. Okay. There's a discussion over here in the Rishonim. Is this idea of koyin karka, does it go only according to Rabbi Akiva? According to Rabbanan, the hold moicher ba'in ro moicher, or we're going according to Rabbi Akiva, the holds moicher ba'in yafa moicher. The Rishbam that Pibis and Mubei says that our Mishnah is according to Rabbanan, because according to Rabbi Akiva, moicher ba'in yafa moicher. But many Rishonim argue and say no. Rabbi Akiva holds moicher ba'in yafa moicher. So I'm more generous in my sale. But when I come and give you 2 trees, what does 2 trees mean? That Rabbi Akiva is not selling more to what it is. The question is, what does true mean? Is 2 trees require a karka or not? It says not negia to that. Says the Gemara also, a person who buys 2 trees in the land of his friend, he brings bikurim to Beis Hamikdash, but he doesn't say the kriya. This is Beis Hashem, the next week's parsha is Parshat Kisavli. When you have fruits in the tree, you bring it to Yerushalayim. There's another requirement to come and say the mikra bikurim. Someone who buys 2 trees doesn't have the land. Doesn't have the land, you bring the fruits, but you don't do the kriya. Why don't you do the kriya? Because you have to own the land, as we'll see in a moment. And the Gemara is going to ask, so why do you bring the fruit to Yerushalayim? Rabbi Meir, he brings it because Rabbi Meir Shitasa holds, he owns the land. Omar Avyudo, Omar Shmuel, by the way, Toises Daf Chuf Zayin asks, why do you say Kinyan Pears Kinyan Gufdan? Someone owns the fruits, he should own the land. Well, why do you say that? So this brings different answers. That the one answer, the way Achorim explain it, is usually Kinyan Pears is an indication I'm the owner of the land because I own the land for the fruits. Here you own the trees, it's like a borrowing the land just to use it a little bit. It's not really show ownership. Says the Gemara, says you should know the Rameir holds that even if you buy fruits and not the tree, the way the Rashbam learns, he bought the fruits, he bought all the fruits of the tree without buying the tree at all, he still has to bring to Yerushalayim. Mimai, well, how do you bring a raya? We have an extra Mishnah. We have already a Mishnah that says he owns the land. Of course he brings Bikurim to Yerushalayim. So you see, there are Meir Zmakav, even when you don't have them. That's the extra Mishnah. As Mishnah tells you, bring Bikurim in any case. So it says in the Pasuk, you have to bring it from your land. It's coming to exclude Chutzlaritz. Eretz Yisrael, and not Chutzlaritz, Chutz you don't bring Bikurim. It says you're Adam. If the plate belongs to a guy, we'll get in a moment to the gears to the Rashbam brings. It says, you gave me, the land you gave me. You gave me money to buy it. So yes, what he says in Mikra Bikurim, you gave it to me, you gave me the money to buy the fruits. A person buys 1 tree in the land of his friend, he doesn't bring Bikurim. Meir says clearly, or Meir holds only when you buy 2 trees, you have the land. You bought 1 tree, you don't have the land. Clearly, you don't say. You see, Meir does not say that. tiyuftus. You see clearly that's not true. The fact you have extra Mishnah doesn't tell me you still bring Bikurim. There's a few errors over here. First of all, we have here a very important Tosfos. Tosfos says that the Gemara tells you that you don't bring fruits from Chutzlaretz. So Tosfos, of course you don't. It's mitzvah tluy b'aretz. Mitzvah tluy b'aretz comes only from Eretz Yisrael. Says Tosfos, you see from here that Bikurim is not choivas hapeirus. It's choivas haguf. The Bikurim is obligation of the person, not on the fruits. And Tosfos brings a right to that. He says Tosfos, when you have, for example, Trumas U'Maisos, a person did not do Trumas U'Maisos, he's not allowed to eat. Why? It's tevel. The fruits are awesome. Bikurim, you don't have tevel. You see, it's not din on the fruits, it's din on the person. That's a big machlokes Rishonim. Reb Chaim Kanievsky, it's how brings a raya from Rashi and Gittin, in Daf Zayin base, to the Chuyu. When you look at Rashi, it says, Mamish says clearly that it's a chodesh aguf. So, as let's see the Rashi inside, the Rashi in Daf Zayin with base and Gittin. The Lashon of Rashi is, he brings, regarding the fact that someone who sells a land to a goy needs to take it, he says, "V'kivad bikurim mitzvah derami alei v'loy tavlei leisuperes mechayev lokach laavi v'loy domer lemaiser dafil man de'omar en kinyan loy mechayev laasas." Not similar to meiser, you don't have a chiyuv on the chil b'shot kechovim. The meiser tovil v'osel le'beachilo. So clearly Rashi says, like Tosfos, it's chayvus. Now, the Rashbam brings you another girsa. The Rashbam brings a girsa that says a moscha twice. One of them is lafuke goy, and the other one lafuke ger. The ger, someone who buys fruits from a ger, doesn't say bikurim. It doesn't say the mikra bikurim. Says the Tosfos, why not? The ger does bring bikurim to Yerushalayim. He just doesn't say the mikra bikurim. So if someone buys from the ger, you should say mikra bikurim. So the Machronim explain, Sorotzkin says it, what's machlokes Rashbam and Tosfos? What's the definition of mikra bikurim? The Rashbam learns the mikra bikurim comes with havos bikurim. You bring bikurim, you have to say the mikra. Some people who bring don't have to say. So if you buy it for somebody who brings it, doesn't have to say, you don't say. But Tosfos learns that saying the mikra bikurim is an independent thing. You bring bikurim. Once you bring bikurim, now you have a nuch, you have to say it. Depends who's the one bringing. If it's a ger, he cannot say, so he doesn't say. If it's a person who's not a ger, he does say. So machlok is when the avos bikurim's chiyuv start. That's why if someone buys from the ger, he should say, because he's the one bringing it to Yerushalayim. Now, I have a very important sugya. A little bit out of the daf, a little bit, but it's the Tosfos over here. Tosfos brings a discussion. A ger. Can a ger say mikra bikurim? So he says, Rabbi Nutam says you can't. Why? Because it says that Moshe Satal Aviseinu, right? That's what it says. Oh, you can't do it. You can't say because you can't say Aviseinu. It says Rabbi Nutam, that's why you can't do Subikas Hamazim. If you look at the Tosfos, V'koyachei mishlo amniach Nutam legein levoch Bikas Hazinu, V'she'einu chol mashin chalto Aviseinu eretz taiva. You can't speak about the fathers. You can't speak about the fathers. The Rebbe says you could speak about the fathers. Why? Because Avraham is considered Av HaMoin Goyim. He's the father of everybody. So you could speak about the fathers. But it says the Rebbe have a different problem. Because the son of Sapali, the gang did not get chelik in Eretz Yisrael. So they could say fathers, but can't say Sapali. In a discussion, according to Rebbe, what about Bikas Hamazim? Because it says, so it says to give us. Is it a problem according to Rebbe or not? But many Rishonim hold, no, you could do it. Because the Gerim are, that's what the Ramban, the Rashba, the Ritzvah, the Ran over here say in the Sugya. They say the Gerim could say Aviseinu, because they hold Avraham Avinu, and not only Avraham, Yitzchak and Yaakov are also the fathers of the Gerim. Because they could say Aviseinu. They could. Because the Avraham Goyim and their fathers as well. And they also could say Shasat Alano, because even though they didn't get Chelik in Eretz Yisrael, but Am Yisrael got, they're part of Am Yisrael, and Am Yisrael got Chelik. They didn't get Chelik. They're in the community, they didn't get Chelik. So, they say, it's like there's some, Koyani Levi, most of them Chelik in Eretz Yisrael. They could say Shasat Alano. So that's the main Rishonim hold. In the Rambam, we have a stira. Because the Rambam in Hilchos Bikurim says that a ger does say Bikurim, he could say Shasat Alano. But then you have Vidu Meiser. That's in Parashat Kisavoy, you have the Mikra Bikurim. Right after you have Vidu Meiser. The Rambam Vidu Meiser, the end of Hilchos Meiser Sheni, says a ger doesn't do Vidu Meiser. Because he can't say that he gave it to Aviseinu. So all the Achrim Yas is here in the Rambam. So we have answers, Apilomdis, that maybe there's a difference between the Bikurim and Meiser. The Kappas Torah says that when Niflamoid. He says the Lashon of Bikurim is that, let's read it inside, just have the Chumash. The Lashon in Mikra Bikurim is different than the Lashon in Meiser. Because in Mikra Bikurim it says, the Lashon is Lashon Osid. It says, Vahitin Lanu as far as it right, it says, Vahitin Lanu as far as it is Vahitin Lanu is Lashon Osid. Right? It says, sorry, Shishba Hashem Avisenu lost us Lanu. What was Nishba to do was to give us the land. Give us the land is Lashon Osid. Now, the Pashut means to give us the land when you come to Eretz Yisrael. But he says it means Lashon Osid forever, because when you learn the end of Basra, that the game will be take chelik in Eretz Yisrael Losid Lava. So they could say Losid Lava. Mashenike b'Meiser, it says Shenosato Lashon in the past tense, right? So therefore, the Moshe Shenosato Lano. That's why Gary can't say. That's what the Kappas Tmoim says the answer, the steer, and the Rambam. Okay. Says the Gemara, my time there may be in Echot, my time there be so why do they hold you bring Bikur to your Shlai if you can't say the Mikra Bikur? If it's not your land, so don't bring it. They're sure did not give a reason. In other words, you ask me a question, you're embarrassing me. Interesting notion of the Gemara. What does the Gemara say? What says like this? You're right. If I don't have to bring Bikur, if I don't have to say Bikur, I don't have to bring Bikur. But here I'm not sure. I'm suffik. Ramir is not sure when you buy one tree, did you buy the land or not? And Rabbanan, when you buy two trees, they're not sure. So they're going to say bring the Bikur, but don't say anything. We'll see in a moment what's found to say. It says clearly, you're not creating the karko. Maybe he's not creating karko. So one second, if I bring Bikurim, it's not Bikurim, I bring Chulin Lazar. So he says over here that when you just bring Chulin Lazar, it's a problem. When you bring it derech avodah, hagosha, tnufa, like you do over here, other Rishonim argue. And this leads to another thing over here, because the Rashban says, if is a suffix, so what's pshat that the seller doesn't have to give the land? It's a suffix. Says the Rashban, it's a suffix. That's so the seller keeps the land. So you see from here that Mitzvah Arayo does not pass it for you halacha legabi bikurim. Legabi yisurim. You have a something what to do. So you keep the money by you. But it doesn't pass legabi bikurim. You have to bring bikurim or not. The problem is, as the Rechonim point out, the Gemara there says there's a suffix if you give something to the kohen. And if you sell Mitzvah Arayo, you can use the beim for Ma'aseh beim. In other words, once you sell Mitzvah Arayo, you have a psak. So, of course, steer between our Gemara and the Gemara would see it. So, there's a few answers. One answer is to say that maybe there is a suffix in Metzias. We don't know what happened. Here's a suffix in Halacha. Suffix in Halacha, we don't know what the din is. But some of them want to say that you're right. Mitzvah Arayo tells you don't have to bring Bikurim. The only reason you bring Bikurim is because of Derabbanan. And this leads to here. Bringing Chulin Lazar is a Deraisa or Derabbanan? Machlokes Rishonim. Say some Rishonim, a Karchak is Deraisa. Because if not, what is the Gemara saying over here? What it says, how do you bring Bikurim to Yerushalayim? It's Chulin Ba'azara. Yeah, but Chulin Ba'azara is Derabbanan. And Bikurim is the Sofik Deraisa. And to some Acharini, no, but bring Bikurim here is only Derabbanan, because Deraisa would say Chavaraya. So therefore, he still use Derabbanan, can they get Derabbanan? Okay. Says the Gemara, says the Gemara, the Magdish Lo. I don't know what to do with these fruits. They can Ekdish. No problem. They make it Ekdish. Then you say this, I'm bringing to Yerushalayim the Bikurim, and if it's not Bikurim, it's Ekdish. So Rashbam says, even though it's Bedek Habayis, people do bring Bedek Habayis to Beis HaMikdash. So but I have to eat the fruits if it's Bikurim. The Kohen has to eat it. The part glue. Afterwards, you redeem it. It's like, this bikurim is bikurim. If not, I'm putting money for Beis HaMikdash. One second, bikurim is not chayav in truma and meiser. All the fruits are chayav. So what the mafish do? No problem, he does truma and meiser. So, I can't do that, it's not good enough. There's no truma gedoy lo yav to the kohen. There's no truma gedoy give to the kohen. So I give the bikurim to the kohen. I take a truma, I give it also to the kohen. My sasheni now, yav to the kohen. My sasheni I can give it to anybody I want. I give it to the kohen as well. My son now, yav to the kohen. Oni. I give it to a kohen who's an oni. Great. Ela my serisha in the Levi who leman yavlo. But my serisha belongs to the Levi. So if I think of my serisha, I'll give it to the Levi. But bikurim, give it to the kohen. I'm not sure if this is bikurim or this is not bikurim. I don't know if I have my serisha or not. It's like, more the yavlo the kohen kablos ben azayo. He's the kohen kablos ben azayo. The tanyo truma gedoy lo the kohen. My serisha in the Levi. If Rabbi Kiva was ben azayo, my serisha af the kohen. My serisha goes even to the kohen. Here's a big discussion in Rishonim. Is this after Ezra was goyzer on them or not? We learned this from Masechtas Gittin. Another Masechtas that Ezra made punished the Levi not to take my Serisha because they didn't come to Yerushalayim when they did the Aliyah, when they came back in Bava. So the different shittas do share. Some shittas learn this machlekes is even without the Gzera. In general, when the Torah says to give my Serisha to a Levi, doesn't mean Levi not kohen, it means also kohen. Or it means you have to the Gzera. Before the Gzera went only to the Levi. After the Gzera, the question did it go to the Kohen as well. And there's a third sheet basically says that the Rebbe Kiva, that whoever says after the Kohen, after the Gzera, it's only to the Kohen. So it comes out, as the Rebbe brings, we have three sheets that we're sharing today. Do you give my Serisha to the Levi? Because that still continues. Or you give my Serisha to both. Or you give my Serisha only to a Kohen. So one says this will go with this mandama, I have a solution. So when we deal with Bikurim Nirubai Kriya, what about Kriya? Kriya loy ma'keves. I don't have to do Kriya. So when you do have to Kriya, v'loi v'homar zera kol aroi lebila in bila ma'keves boy, v'she'eru lebila ma'keves boy. We have a day. The bila is referring to the Gemara in Menachos. The Gemara in Menachos says there's something called a bisa. Bisa is a big kli, and that's where they put the mincha. And when you put the mincha, you have the amount you can put is 60. The amount is 60. And we're talking about 60 sorrow. Put 60 sorrow. Now, then you put oil in it. Do you mix the oil or not? You don't have to mix the oil midaraisa, but you have to have the option to mix the oil. 60, it mixes well. More than 60 doesn't. So says the Gemara there, if you brought 60, you don't have to mix the oil. But if you brought 61, because you cannot even have the option to mix it, you have to put it in two different kelim. So from here, there's the rule all over Shas. I need to have the option to be able to perform the mitzvah if I want to. Here you have a mitzvah to do kriyas b'kurim. I'm not able to do it because you bring me yourself. So I have to call a roy, whatever can be mixed, a meal makaz, you don't have to mix. So I have a solution not to be obligated in kriya. When you send a bikurim with a shliach down the way, you may be ve'in a koyer. My time you take and you bring. It needs to be that the same person brings it till there. Machlokes is the Rishayim, the Rashbam, and Taisus, does he have to cut it from the tree or not? But the point is that it has to be the entire process by the shliach. Says the Rashbam, if the shliach did the whole thing, he took it from the house, he cut it according to the Rashbam, took it from the house, brought it to Beis HaMikdash, the owner who comes after can do kriya. Because shluch is shalom kamayso. The shliach himself cannot do kriya. There's another din, the shliach cannot do kriya. But if the shliach did halfway and the owner did halfway, then there's no kriya. It has to be the same person bringing it. So here you make sure you take it, you send it with two people. There's no kriya. I don't have a problem. That's the valid. That's it. So we have a solution, right? In other words, you send the bikur to be English misafik. If it's bikurim, great. If not, make it a hegdish. And you give me truma, my son, my sheni, my soni, everything. And don't do kriya because they do send with two people. What's the big problem? Just let him read it. It's only psukim. I wrote me Davi. Just let him read it. You can't do it. It looks like a sheker. Different problem, bigger problem. Because if you're going to do kriya, people are going to say it's for sure bikurim, and they're not going to do truma and ma'aser. Many nefkaminas, the Shagasai speaks about it. What's the nefkim between the two answers? If in a case that I don't have truma and ma'aser, I don't have a problem. Do you have a problem or not, etc. But here you see something interesting. This you see that when it's no mirzik shikra, I can do psukim. This is not community very much. Now we come into slichas. Ikar slichas you deal midu shirachu. You give shirachu you can do only b'tzibur. Says the Gemara, yeah, but if you do it on your own, you're fine. If you do it kriya b'alma, you're allowed to read psukim. If it's not mixed, the Mishnah holds you need to go on a little bit, not to finish the middle of pasuk, because you give midu shirachim and in the middle of pasuk. V'naki, it has to say v'naki lo yinaki poike dovanovois. You have to finish the pasuk, but you can read the psukim. On the other hand, we see here you can't do sheker. The Torah Lishma, the Ben Ishrai brings in his tshuva that in the psuk in the Akinus Sudasa that you say in Leil Shabbos says there that you put the table in the north and the menorah and the candles in the south and Yavadasa. A person who doesn't do that cannot say the Zid Mizrah because he's saying a lie. And then the Kavina Lagabi also, when we say different slichas, if the slichas is saying something which you're not doing, it's a problem. It's kishikra. That opens another discussion. Can you say because it's Nusach Tefillah or not? And this l'chur from our Gemara, you see right, the Nusach Kishikra is a problem. We'll stop over here, and everybody should have a wonderful week.